Special constitutional measures were required to advance their interest. అంటే మనకి కావాల్సింది స్పెషల్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ మెజర్మెంట్స్ కావాలి. అంటే ఎవరు కావాలి? టు దీస్ పీపుల్. And therefore the constitution makers provide a number of special measures to protest the interest of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, such as the reservation of the seats in the legislatures. And ఇక్కడ ఏమంటుంది? At that time generally SC/ST, BC, SC/ST and some people in the BCs, some people in the minorities, some in the depressed classes, they could not get any reservation. They could not get the legislative platforms because of their caste, because of their weakness, because of their social inequalities. So that's what, when the constitution came into, all the permission had been tried to given to all these needy people. The constitution is going to be given the equality among the people, among the society, among each and everyone. Next, the constitution also made it possible for the government to reserve public sector jobs for these groups. These are the philosophical things of the constitution. These are the philosophical things to the Constitution of India, not the Constitution of India, Constitution, as well as the political, philosophical things of the Constitution. Every public sector jobs are really, those are depressed. Those wishes and aspirations violated by that some other people in the society. వాళ్ళ నుంచి ఎవరైతే వైలేట్ చేశారో వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా ఇక్కడ మనం ఈక్వల్ చేయాలి. వీ హ్యావ్ టు సపోజ్ టు ప్రొవైడ్ దట్ పీపుల్, వాళ్ళందరికీ ద రెస్పెక్ట్ ఫర్ ద డైవర్సిటీ అండ్ మైనారిటీ రైట్స్. ద ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఎంకరేజెస్ ఈక్వల్ రెస్పెక్ట్ బిట్వీన్ ద కమ్యూనిటీస్. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏమంటే ప్రతి ఒక్కరు కూడా రెస్పెక్ట్ అనేటువంటి చూడాలని చెప్పేసి. దిస్ వాజ్ నాట్ ఈజీ టు అవర్ కంట్రీ. ఫస్ట్ బికాస్ ద కమ్యూనిటీస్ డు నాట్ ఆల్వేస్ హ్యావ్ ద రిలేషన్షిప్ ఆఫ్ equality. This is very important. Remember, this was not easy in our country. First because communities do not always have relationships. Communities do not have always relationships of the equality. They tend to have hierarchical relationships with one another in the case of the caste. Yes or no? లేవు కదా మనకి. And suppose me Gram, suppose right now with your village, I think so. I think each and everyone came from village కాదు, మీరు సిటీస్ అయినా అర్బన్ సిటీస్ అయినా అర్బన్ టౌన్స్ అని తీసుకోండి. మీ యొక్క విలేజ్లో ఉన్నటువంటి ఆల్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్. వై? మనకి భారత రాజ్యం 70 సంవత్సరాలు అవుతుంది వచ్చి, ఇంకెందుకు ఈక్వల్గా లేదు? నాట్ పర్ఫెక్ట్లీ ఇంప్లిమెంటెడ్ బై ద rulers. Even the rulers are going to be trying to implementing, the people does not accept such a kind of rules and regulations. Yes or no? Because if the rules or regulations is supposed to be implemented by the rulers, the people, the citizens of the locals can be violated their beliefs. అంటే వాళ్ళ ట్రెడిషన్స్, దే కల్చర్స్. నేను ఎలా తింటాను వాళ్ళ దగ్గర భోజనం? No, how can I go to talk with the community people? ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఇప్పటికి still we can see, we heard about it. అందుకోసమే కదా ఇప్పుడు కేంద్ర రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు కూడా why the state governments are going to be implementing these schemes, policies and construction of the houses. ఎందుకు అంటే లేదు, ఈక్వాలిటీ అనేటువంటిది ఇంకా సొసైటీలో లేదు. హూ సపోజ్ టు మేక్ ద ఈక్వాలిటీ ఇన్ ద సొసైటీ? Government is trying to make the equality, but you being the people, you are not trying to mingle with each and everyone.
Because the level playing ground is not same for everyone.
That's what I'm telling.
Because rich people can afford their children to the rich colleges or schools, but poor can't afford. So to make the level playing field equal for everyone, you have to provide reservations. But even you are providing the reservations, the people are not willing to go to the schools or colleges. Most of the guys from the depressed classes, because they don't have the awareness, they are satisfied with their own means and ways of living, and they are not coming out of their comfort zones or villages, whatever you say. So So maybe these are the causes, and some are the beliefs. I think their traditional beliefs. This is
Hierarchical
enough for
beliefs,
us.
old age beliefs, old age customs. So, because of all these old age customs, old age cultures, old age practices, stop our mindset to mingle with some other than their community, other than their caste, other than their creed, other than their religion, their gender. అంటే ఆల్ దీస్ ఏంటంటే మనకి ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఎలా ప్రాబ్లం చేస్తాం. అందుకోసం ఏంటంటే సెకండ్ వెన్ ఇన్ దీస్ కమ్యూనిటీస్ do see each other as equals, they also tend to become rivals. Then what will happen when this type of discrimination followed by the society? Rivals, as in the case of the religious communities. Next, this was the huge challenge for the makers of the constitution, how to make communities liberal in their approach and foster a sense of the equal respect among them under existing conditions of the hierarchy or the intense rivalry. అంటే ఎలా అవుతుంది ఇక్కడ అంటే మనకి ఇక్కడ ఎప్పుడైతే ఈక్వాలిటీకి ఉన్నామో ఆటోమేటిక్ మనకి ఇక్కడ ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ కుడ్ స్టార్ట్, ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డిఫరెన్సెస్ కుడ్ స్టార్ట్. ఇవన్నీ కూడా రావడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, రైవాలిటీ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. రైవాలిటీ అంటే నువ్వెంత అంటే నువ్వెంత, నువ్వేం చేస్తావు నేనేం చేస్తాను, ఇవన్నీ కూడా స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే నేషనల్ ఇంటిగ్రిటీ అనేటువంటిది మనకు ఉండకుండా. సో దట్స్ వాట్ ద స్టేట్, ద గవర్నమెంట్స్, ద రూలర్స్ సపోజ్ టు బి టు మేక్ ఈక్వల్ సొసైటీ అమాంగ్ ఆల్ ద religions, all the caste and all that creeds. Then only the society can move smoothly. Next is secularism. What is the meaning of the secularism? What is the meaning of the secularism?
Treating every religion equally.
Treating every religion is equally. So is it possible? Is it possible in the world? Suppose if you take it, is it possible in India?
Yes, it is possible.
How it is possible in India?
Through laws.
Through laws? Yes, we have a lot of laws are there, but
Providing fundamental right as a.
yes, we have laws are there. Yes, providing all the facilities.
And not interfering in the religious matters.
Okay.
To certain extent, not completely, but not interfering to certain extent.
Okay.
Like their belief, their place of worship, means of clothing.
Means of?
Clothing like hijab.
Yes, okay. Dress code.
Dress code.
Okay.
And not interfering in their religious institutions like managing their temples.
Okay, then if UCC implemented, what could be happen?
If UCC come, then the same law will apply for all the religions. So, for example, Muslims have their own way of marriage and acts. Means divorce, talaq, triple talaq. So that will be gone, and they are also have to follow the.
Already it's gone.
fundamental.
Triple talaq already gone.
But some extent they follow now.
But
also.
that's the things that acts will control all
And acts
kind of things.
This girls are getting the after divorce they are getting the dowry. I mean. Not
Dowry
dowry,
system.
sir,
Okay.
alimony. Alimony. And all this comes under the same law, so that they are getting the more equal benefits compared to the Hindus.
Compared to other citizens.
Yeah. Compared to
Okay, then only it will be possible. Okay, suppose here secularism, generally it is a broad as well as intellectual term. It treats each and every person as equal. Not only in India, entire the world. Then only the world becomes peaceful. Then only the world, the nation of India, like, would be peaceful. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ సెక్యులరిజం అనేటువంటిది ఇట్ ఈస్ సపోజ్ టేక్ పాకిస్తాన్, సమ్ ఆఫ్ ద నేషన్స్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఇన్ ఇండియా, సపోజ్ ఇస్లామిక్ నేషన్స్ ఏంటంటే అక్కడ మైనార్టీస్ వచ్చేసి 1 or 2% మైనార్టీస్ అదర్ దాన్ ముస్లిమ్స్ ఉంటారు. సపోజ్ మనకి 1 or 2% క్రిస్టియన్స్ ఆర్ హిందూస్. హిందూస్ తక్కువ ఉంటారు. మనకి ఒకవేళ ఉంటే మన ఇస్లాంలో 2 to maximum 5% Christianity in Islamic nations. 2 to maximum 5%. Here more than 95% is Islam. So they do not want any secular provisions or secular privileges or secular objectives. Because whatever their religion, whatever they respected book or that holy book is going to be preaching, according to that, all the states, all that nation is supposed to be followed. Boy or girl or whomever, transgender people. And moreover, there is no permission, they can call the transgenders also. So, ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏమవుతుందంటే లైక్ నేషన్స్ USA, Britain, India. These are the countries like that. But here, these are the democratic nations. In that democratic nation, each and every citizen has their own respect, has their own right, has their own freedom, has their own liberty. So here, they do not entertain this type of against secular practices. But whereas that Islamic nations, their whatever that Islam laws supposed to be implemented in the particular territory, they have to follow without fail. If a person is going to be violated that laws, the person cannot live in that land after that. 100% వాళ్ళు అక్కడ ఏం చేస్తారంటే they can smash. But whereas come to in India, if anybody is going to be violated this secular, he can be punished according to the laws for 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months or 1 year, 3 years. After that he can back. But whereas unlike that, Islamic nations, Islamic states. But the secular means the secular states are widely seen as treating religion as only a private matter. The private matter here we have to treat it as a private matter, it is not a public matter. Suppose if you are following Christianity, just it is private. Islam private, Hinduism private, Sikh private, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, all are our private affairs. We should not open up, we should not talk broadly in the public manner, criticizing with others or against them with others. So that is to say, they refuse to give religion public or official recognition. So because that the religion is stopped to discuss in the public in the official recognition. Next, does this mean that the Indian constitution is not secular? భారతదేశం సెక్యులర్ కాదా? దిస్ డస్ నాట్ ఫాలో. అంటే ఏంటి ఇక్కడ మన పబ్లిక్లో యాక్చువల్లీ వాట్ ఆల్ థింగ్స్ ఆర్ అబౌట్ నాట్ ద ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్, అబౌట్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్, ద ఫిలసాఫికల్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. దట్స్ వాట్ ఆల్ దిస్, నాట్ ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. హియర్ క్వశ్చన్ ఇస్ దట్ డస్ దిస్ మీన్ దట్ ది ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఇస్ నాట్ సెక్యులర్? సో ఎలా అయితే మాత్రం సెక్యులర్ కాదంటే సెక్యులర్లో అలా ఉండాలన్నారు, బట్ భారతదేశంలో ఎలా ఉందా? ఈజ్ ఇట్ పబ్లిక్ మ్యాటర్, ప్రైవేట్ మ్యాటర్? ఇఫ్ ద చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ, చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్, ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా, దే ఆర్ పబ్లిక్లీ గోయింగ్ ఇన్ వర్షిపింగ్ their blood gods. But here what this statement is saying, that religion is public, that only private matter, the religion is completely private matter, but the religion is public official recognition, not in the private, not in that public domain. But what about that Prime Minister? He went and inaugurated that Rama Mandir or whatever, UP. What about that Yadadri by Keshav, Chief Minister of Telangana? What about that CM Jagannath Reddy in Vijayawada, some temple? Next, though the term secular was not initially mentioned, the Indian constitution has always been secular. Of course, by 1976, the word has been mentioned in the preamble. Before that, was not India considered as the secular nation? No, it was secular nation. All that ideals were there. All that ideals are there. In that ideals of the constitution, the secular privilege, the secular smell was there. But when 1975, when that a group of people tried to against the government, then the government tried to enter or measure the word of the secular, the preamble. It was the first amendment of the constitution, first amendment of the preamble. But before that, merging that word of the secular in the preamble, there was a secularity in the Indian constitution. So that's what we, all the people, being Christians, being Islam, being Hinduism, being that Zoroastrians, Sikhs, Buddhists, all together lived and continued our life. But though the mainstream Western concept of the secular means mutual exclusion of the state, religion, in order to protect values such as individual freedom and the citizenship rights of the individuals. But in the Western stream, it is not that I'm going to talk about Indian stream. In the Western stream, that religion and state, both are interlinked. In the Western stream, in the Western part of the world, some of the nations are there. వాళ్ళు కూడా ఇప్పుడు ఇలాగా కొన్ని వచ్చేసి మనకి కొన్ని దేశాలు వచ్చేసి ఆ యొక్క రిలీజియస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ ఫాలో అవుతుంటాయి. ఆ స్టేట్ హ్యాస్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ దాట్. స్టేట్ సపోజ్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ఆల్ దట్. అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే దే ట్రై టు గివ్ దట్ సెక్యులారిటీ, అంటే దే థాట్ లైక్ దట్, దే ప్రాక్టీస్ ఆల్ దీస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ అన్లైక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా, అన్లైక్ US. Again, next here, the term mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion means this both religion and state must stay away from the internal affairs of one another. So ఇక్కడ ఏమంటున్నారు ఆల్రెడీ వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ the exclusion, conception of the mutual exclusion of the state and religion in order to protect values. Mutual exclusion ఎలా ఉంటుంది? They have to protect that the values of that state, the values of the country. But whereas the mutual exclusion means that both religion and state must away from the internal affairs of the one another. నీ యొక్క అంటే ఇక్కడ ప్రతి ఒక్క వ్యక్తి యొక్క ఇంటర్నల్ అఫైర్స్లోకి స్టేట్ గా రిలీజియన్ షుడ్ నాట్ ఇంటర్ఫేర్. బట్ వేరస్ ఇన్ ద బ్రాడ్ టర్మ్ ఆఫ్ ది స్టేట్, బ్రాడ్ టర్మ్ ఆఫ్ దట్ సెక్యులర్, దే కెన్ mutually interlink it. But whereas the term comes to the individual, they are separated. You have to give the right to the individual person whatever they wish. The state must not intervene in the domain of the religion. The state, suppose if take that Pakistan, they should not only Pakistan, we should not name any names of the countries. The state should not intervene of the domain of the religion. The religion likewise should not dictate state policy or influence of the conduct of the state. Religion should not interfere in the political affairs of the state. They should not interfere of the welfare programs of the state, because the religion is different from the welfare, from the state, from this other activities. In other words, mutual exclusion means that religion and the state must be strictly separated. అంటే ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఎక్కడ నేను వెస్టర్న్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది వరల్డ్ ఉంటాయి. బట్ ఇన్ అదర్ వర్డ్స్ అంటే సమ్ కొన్ని కంట్రీస్ ఏంటంటే స్టేట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్ అండ్ రిలీజియన్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్. స్టేట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్, religion cannot be depend on the state, the state cannot be depend on the religion, state cannot give the respect to each and every religion, state cannot adopt only this religion as the state religion, as well as the religion cannot treat the state belongs to the only this kind of religion. The religion cannot treat the state as supposed to follow all these rules and regulations mentioned in this particular religion's book. It is separated. Religion is separated, state is separated. Next we come to the protect religious freedom of the individual. Therefore, the state must not help religious organizations. But at the same time, the state should not tell religious organizations how to manage their affairs. State should not tell the religions, you should follow like this, you have to go there, you have to do this, you should not do that. State cannot impose this type of impositions. The state must therefore to hinder religious organizations either. In short, states should neither help nor hinder religions. Instead, they should keep themselves at an arm's length from them. So, what they are saying, the state has to maintain a length of the distance from the religion. The religion also has to maintain a length of the religion from the state. State has to be separated from the affairs of the religion. Religion has to separated or away from the affairs of the state. This has been a prevalent Western concept of the secularism. These all kind of things are going to be happening in the Western. Conditions in India were different, and to respond to the challenge they posed, the makers of the constitution had to work out an alternative conception of the secularism. In India, when the terms of the India, when the things come to that India, it is completely different from the Western. Western following all these kind of things. Some nations, particularly, they are mingled. They are the dependent on the state and the religion. Religion depends on the state. But in some countries, they should not intervene on the individual affairs of that religion, individual affairs of the state. But whereas come to India, it is completely different from other Western concepts of these religious or secular practices. They departed from the Western model in two ways and two different reasons. We did not adopt such kind of things. The rights of the religious groups first, as mentioned already, they recognized that inter-community equality was necessary as equality between the individuals. Here in India, when you come to Indian part, here that inter-community equality. Inter-community, they have to give the respect, as well as the equality between the individuals. So here in Indian Constitution, they try to provide equality among the individuals, equality between or among the communities. And this was because of the person's freedom and the sense of the self-respect was directly dependent upon the status of her community. Next, if one community was dominated by another, then its members would also be significantly less free. So that's not here. One community should not be dominated by other community. If that one dominated community is going to be dominating some other, so they do not have any power. They do not. That constitution is not going to be given the equality among the or between the communities or among the peoples. So that's what these kind of things has been removed. If, on the other hand, the relations were equal, marked by an absence of the domination, then its members would also walk about with the dignity, self-respect and freedom. So that's what here. If anybody is going to be dominated, they can definitely walk out from that place, from that domain, from that area, from that locality. Thus, the Indian Constitution grants rights to all religious communities. So, here, mine is this one, I am dominated. Yours is that one, you are the weak. So, I can dominate. I can do whatever I wish. You have to follow that. If you fail to do that, I'll punish you. These kind of things are stopped by the Constitution of India. So, that's what the Constitution has granted the rights to all religious communities, such as the right to establish and maintain their educational institutions. So that's what the Constitution of India tried to give the rights to all the religious communities. Whatever you wish, you can adopt. Whatever you wish, you can establish. Whatever you want to set up that institution, you can run according to your wish and will. Freedom of the religion in India means freedom of religion of both the individual and the communities. Religion means here, religion and religion means community and individuals. And ఇక్కడ వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా ఈక్వల్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ అనేటువంటి ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. ఇక్కడ రిలీజన్ అంటే ఇక్కడ ఫ్రీడమ్ ఆఫ్ రిలీజన్ ఇన్ ఇండియా మీన్స్ freedom of religion of both individuals and the communities. Each and every individual can get the freedom whatever he wish to adopt, wish to do, wish to pray, wish to go into any temple, mosque or churches. And as well as community also. Whatever that community you can do whatever you wish. So that's why such type of freedoms had been provided in this constitution. Next, universal franchise. Two other, just exclusion, last things. Universal franchise. What is the meaning of the universal franchise? What is the meaning of the universal franchise?
Voting.
It is nothing but a right to vote. Yes? Right to Right to vote to whom? To citizens.
Who are eligible.
To citizens who are eligible according to the laws. According to the laws. Okay, two other core features may also be regarded as achievements. First, it is no mean achievement to commit oneself to universal franchise, especially when there is a widespread belief that the traditional hierarchies in India are congealed and more or less impossible to eliminate, and when the right to vote has only recently been extended to women. Recently has been extended the right, look at here, the right to vote has only recently been extended to women and to working class unstable, and not only women, working class means that depressed, oppressed section of the society who are eliminated in the mainstream society of India. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమన్నారంటే ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి మనకి రైట్ టు ఈక్వాలిటీ అన్నమాట, రైట్ టు ఓట్ అనేటువంటి యాక్చువల్లీ వీ హ్యావ్ సమ్ ట్రెడిషన్స్, వీ హ్యావ్ సమ్ కస్టమ్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ కన్సీల్డ్ మీన్స్ firmly, strictly followed by some sections in the society, which cannot be destroyed, which cannot immediately stop such practices, and it can move into the democratic conditions or democratic practices. రాలేనటువంటి ఉంటాయి అలాంటి ఇంపాసిబుల్ టు ఎలిమినేట్ అంటే సపోజ్ రైట్ టు ఓట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇంపాసిబుల్ టు గివ్ ద ఉమెన్ because so far we have treated that women, we have treated that the people, workers people or sections of the people in the society, we have treated them as workers, we treat them as slaves. How can we give the right to vote to workers, slaves as well as women as equal as us? But Western democracies followed Western democracies and had tried to provided rights to that people also. Next, once the idea of the nation took roots among the elite, the idea of the democratic self-government followed. Indian nationalism also always conceived of political order based on the will of every single member of the society. Indian nationalism always conceived of a political order based on the will of every single member of the society. Yes or no? Indian nationalism, how that Indian nationalism movement started? By every citizen of India tried to participate in that revolt. Then we got independence at last by 1947, 15th August. But the idea of the universal franchise lays securely within the heart of the nationalism. So, the idea of the universal franchise, right to vote అనేటువంటిది, it is very important part of the constitution as well as the nation of India or nation of each and every country. Next we come to always as early as the constitution of India Bill 1895. The non-official attempt at the drafting the constitution for India, the author declared that every citizen, that is anyone born in India, had the right to take a part in the affairs of the country and be admitted to public office. Epudu 1895 lone our nationalist leaders of India, they tried to do all this kind of things. Epudu man independence వచ్చిన తర్వాత అప్పుడు ప్రతి ఒక్కరు కూడా ఎవ్రీ సిటిజన్ మొత్తం భారతదేశం ప్రతి ఒక్కరు కూడా రైట్ టు పార్ట్ ఇన్ ది అఫేర్స్ ఆఫ్ ది కంట్రీ, భారతదేశం పాలనలో వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా పార్ట్ కావాలి. దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ constitutional affairs. Before getting the independence, we got our national leaders had inspired us through their movements, through their fights. The Motilal Nehru report 1928 reaffirms this conception of the citizenship, reiterating that every person of either sex who has attained the age of the 21 is entitled to vote for the House of the Representatives of the Parliament. That's what this 1895 resolution had been implemented by the report of the 1928 by the Motilal Nehru. as the chairman of the Constitution, the report of Motilal Nehru's report. He implemented, he started that, the conception of the citizenship reiterating, restarted to every person of either sex, irrespective of the sex. Irrespective of the sex means male or female, nothing, all. Who has attained the age of the 21? At that time, we had 21 years age, then we can utilize our franchise in the elections. Okay, entitled to vote for the parliament, for the representatives on the parliament. అంటే మనకి ఏమన్నారు అంటే 1895 భారత రాజ్యాంగ చట్టంలో పెట్టినటువంటి ఆ యొక్క ఐడియల్స్ని, ఆ యొక్క ఆస్పిరేషన్స్, ఫీలింగ్స్ మొత్తం కూడా 1928 నెహ్రూ రిపోర్ట్లో హీ ఇంప్లిమెంటెడ్ ఇట్. He tried to give the right to vote to irrespective of gender, and had been given the right to vote at the age of 21 years irrespective of persons in the society. Women, worker sections in the society. For all, they had given the right to vote. This is the beauty of the Constitution of India, trying to implement all this.